What's up, guys? Thank you all for tuning in to my 34th episode of Project Renaissance Man. I just got back from one of my favorite cafes in the city, the Rabbit and Dragonfly. This cafe has by far the greatest ambience I think I've ever immersed myself in within a cafe. Aside from Folklore in Elizabethtown, those are the two best ambiances of a cafe that I've ever encountered. So I just thought I'd share that because I like to support these businesses and rep them, and also hopefully get people to go in there and check them out and have a great experience. Share that experience that I've had the opportunity to. Today's subject is going to be on burning bridges, and I'm actually putting a spin on this. When we hear of people talking about burning bridges, it's usually us being advised against doing so, us being told, be careful, about burning bridges. And that, there's a lot of truth behind that. There are a lot of times when we need to be careful about our bridges, the ones we burn, because what's so beautiful about this message is that it's the general idea is that we're not using people and things as a means to an end. That's really what I feel the underlying most basic message is behind not burning bridges, is that you're not just using somebody and then saying screw them, or doing something harmful to somebody to the point that you can't ever go back to that person and you can no longer have a connection with this person. Once the bridge has been burnt, it's burnt for good, and so there's no return, basically. But at the same time, we need to realize that on the opposite side of things, sometimes bridges need to be burned. We need to break out the gasoline. We need to break out the flamethrowers and the Molotovs, because some bridges, not every bridge is going to take us to a good place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment on this way of seeing burning bridges, which is to burn them. And I'm going to share with you guys 3 aspects of criteria that I feel that should you be able to identify within your own life, then you should highly consider burning the bridge. So the first one is, are you growing through this bridge? And basically, I'm using bridge as connection, of course. It's a figurative way of saying connection. So am I growing through the connection that I have with this person? And realize this: the bridge that stands for a connection can be any one of these things. It can be somebody that you had romantic relationship with. It can be somebody who is just an acquaintance. It can be somebody who is a friend, or it can be an employee-employer relationship. And so this criteria applies to all 4 forms of connection. So that's really nice that it's universal. So are you growing? So with regard to somebody that you're in love with, or you're in a relationship with, are you growing with this person? Is this person supporting your growth? Is this person willing to grow with you? These are questions you have to ask. And, if you realize that there's no growth there and this person isn't willing to help you grow, or even worse yet, they're actually opposing your growth and trying to keep you in check so you don't outgrow them, then you need to consider burning this bridge, because growth is extremely important for all of us if we want to be better, if we want to be our best. And if somebody truly loves you, they're going to support that. They're going to support you being able to be your best and giving you that opportunity to be your best, and furthermore, propelling you to be your best. They're going to push you and really cheer you on to be the best person you can possibly be. We want what's best for those that we love, you know. Same thing with an employee-employer connection. Are they about your growth? A lot of companies aren't. They're more about just really limiting you and keeping you in a box so that they can impose a certain rule set and program you and get you to do things the way they want you to do them, so they have total control. Because a divergent thinker and an ambitious person is a threat to these companies. They're a danger. And they are because they are aware of their capabilities and that they don't need to be confined to these containers. And so long as they know that, what scares these companies is they realize that this person can bail at any minute, because they know how much farther they can go. They know they're not limited to these little boundaries, that the company's trying to set, these little perimeters. So if you feel like you're not even growing in a workplace environment, you really need to change something there. You need to burn that bridge and build a new one. Build a bridge to a place that's going to actually promote your growth. And I'm talking about growth outside of work. If a place really honors your growth and your betterment, and respects it, they're going to care about the fact that maybe on a Monday and Wednesday you got dance class, or maybe on Tuesday and Thursday you have yoga. And they're going to respect that, and they're going to allow you to attend those things. They're going to schedule you in a way that allows you to make it to your dance because it means that much to you. Because dance to you is something that you feel is necessary to make you feel fulfilled, to feel whole, complete. The second pointer I have, or the second aspect of criteria that I want to share with you guys, is this connection, is this bridge helping to sustain you? Are you happy with it? And this has to go beyond sustainability even, But when I talk about sustainability, I pretty much can go back to the previous pointer where I mentioned fulfillment. And so if it's to sustain you, then it will honor you being able to attend your dance classes and do things outside of it. It's not all about just using you as a utility and trying to get as much of you out of you as it can for as little of an output as possible, which is how a lot of companies are. They pay you as little as possible, but they expect to squeeze every bit of your ability out of you. And it's not even fair. It's not even sensible. So it's no wonder you walk into certain places and you'll see somebody standing behind the counter on their cell phone. I know it's not good customer service, but let's be real here. That person is giving their time, focus, and energy to a place that's telling them that all three of those things are worth only like $9 an hour or $10 an hour. How can you really blame the people? I don't think so. And then the third aspect of criteria that I'd like to share is, does it provide a high ROI, return on investment? And when I say return on investment, I am not restricting this to the monetary domain. Return on investment applies to multiple areas. It, in a nutshell, comes down to how much am I getting versus how much am I giving to something. So this really applies to a lot of these employees or these employers. Your return on investment is awful. The time, energy, and focus that you're giving to these places, for what you're giving to them, you're really not getting much back at all. In fact, you're probably having things taken from you depending on the type of environment it is, because it's very likely that because of these circumstances and conditions, that morale is going to be extremely low in these types of workplace environments. And when it's that low, people tend to really not give a shit, and they don't really support each other, and you don't have a strong team. You have a lot of instability, and so it's a failing entity at that point in time, because nobody wants to be there. There's nothing. That's why morale in a company is so important. And some of the most fundamental ways by which you can change this are some of the most effortless ways, like just pointing at areas where your employees have done well and commending them. You don't even have to buy them lunch. Just show some commendation, show some appreciation. And so before I get off topic, because that's really what's going on now, I want to get back onto return on investment. And I want to specify a little bit about the way I like to see a healthy, sustainable means of return on investment. So when I talk about return on investment, I'm talking about reciprocity. I think all great connections and strong bridges require reciprocity. And so we're reciprocating things, and we're not doing so because you're doing something for me, so I feel like I got to do something for you. Or I'm thinking, what can I do for you so that I can get what I want? No, I mean, when I say return on investment and reciprocating things, it's I'm doing things for you because I care about you and I know you are in need of certain things, and vice versa. When I'm down and hurting, you're willing to help me out because you care about me and you care about my well-being. And that's your motive. That's your reason behind helping me out. And that's my reason for helping you out. And it's not because I'm trying to get something from you or I feel I owe you something. All right? And that's a healthy bridge right there. That's a strong, sturdy, durable bridge. And that's really what we're looking for when we talk about bridges. But if you don't have a strong return on investment and you got a lot of conniving bullshit going around, you have a lot of people that are acting contrarily to that, where they're trying to see what they can get from you, and that's the only reason they're doing anything for you, or they're doing something for you because they feel they owe it to you since you did something for them. Well, that's really not that great of a system. It's not even a sustainable system. It's a very selfish in a bad way sort of system. So, but yeah, when I talk about return on investment, I'm basically saying you should be getting something out of it. Something that's going to benefit you. And like I said, it's not you fixating on, what can I get from this? It should naturally come about. And that's why it's so important to find these types of people, the ones that care enough about you that they're willing to give to you just as, willingly as you're going to give to them. So I think that will do it for today's subject. But yeah, just be sure that if these, this criteria, if you're dealing with this, where these aspects are popping up, and you feel, they're not being honored, and yeah, I'm having brain fog now. But anyways, you got to burn bridges sometimes. It's just life. If you want to be healthy, if you want to be able to move on past things, if you want to be able to advance unhindered, because a lot of these things will hinder you greatly. They can almost freeze you in place, if you don't take care of them. So don't feel bad when you burn these bridges. That's the thing. You got to move past it. There's so many people out there. There's so many connections. Healthy connections await you. You just have to trust it, And, basically settling is not an option. It's not a good option. Just because it's better to have no bridges than a bridge that leads you to some place where you're going to be taken advantage of, and you're going to have things taken from you, from people that are going to be always trying to capitalize. So, all right, guys, if you guys feel you have benefited from this video and you've enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a like, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. And I will see you all on Saturday. Later.